Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. So it's the first Monday of the month of April now. So we got a lot of updates coming in today. So a lot of miners provided them, which is kind of surprising. So we got a lot to talk about. But first, as always, we're going to get into the markets, see how the markets did, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the miners as well. A little bit of a mixed day, but we also have to talk about what happened today. Bitcoin was dropped, Dogecoin spikes. We're going to look at all that story. We also have a story about, unconfirmed story, that CZ, the CEO of Bitmain, faces Interpol red notice. We'll talk about what that means and possibly why Bitcoin was down today. We also have production updates from Bitfarms, Cleanspark, as well as Cipher and Marathon. So we got a lot to go through today. I will try to get these made into clips so you guys can see them individually if you want. And I'll also provide the chapters down in the bottom for you guys to skip over to the sections that you want to really see. Okay, so I'm going to try doing the clips. We'll see how that goes going forward. But no promises that we're going to keep that depending on how much time I have for that, okay? So as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice. This is for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. So let's get into the markets here really quick. Markets, S&P was up today 0.37% to 4,124. Dow Jones was up a little bit as well, 0.98% to 33,601. NASDAQ was down today 0.25% to 13,148. We did have the news from OPEC today that they are going to be cutting production by about 1.5 million barrels a day. I think that had an impact a little bit on the market as well today, especially in the tech industry, part of it. And Bitcoin in the news with CZ that came out obviously kind of had an effect on Bitcoin today. So Bitcoin was down today. It's got 17 about minutes left on the day before it changes over for me. It was down today 1.27. It was down a lot more. It was down almost 2.5 something percent like that on the day. It did bounce up a little bit here, so that's good. If we look to see where the 200 weekly moving average, we're still way above the 200 weekly moving average, so we're good there for the time being at least. But it's something, one of those things we have to watch where we possibly might dip down to that eventually. RSI is looking pretty good as well. RSI has come down here to 59. Last time we were back here, actually, Bitcoin was lower at that price, so we're still looking pretty good on the RSI with Bitcoin price being up higher on it. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see RSI right now is at 43. Last time we were back here, price was actually at that point a little bit higher. So we are starting to see a little bit of a pull down on Bitcoin and the RSI as well, which could translate into us possibly falling down lower. On the 1-hour chart, we can see RSI is at 44 right now. Last time it was back up here, price was also higher at that point, right? We're still seeing that kind of descending line happening for us here on the 1-hour and the 4-hour, not on the daily, but I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to fall down a little bit more, take a little bit of a breather here, get the RSI on the daily at least down a little bit more here. That would be great to see if we came down to at least around 40, between 40 and 50. That would make me happy, and then we could possibly go back up. But we'll see. Next is Ethereum here. Ethereum was actually up to date just a little bit. It's up, well, actually it's up right now. It's here, 0.96% on the day to 1,112 at the moment. And RSI is actually up on that one. It's up at 57 here. Last time was back here. It was lower on the daily. Look at the 4-hour chart really quick. RSI is at 53. Last time we were back here on it. Price was actually lower at that point as well on the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart. You can see that the RSI is at 54 right now. Last time we were back here. And price is actually higher. So we're having a little bit of a reverse here with Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. Ethereum is starting to maybe look a little bit more bullish here heading into it than Bitcoin is right now. But the Bitcoin slides, Ethereum will follow as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the miners here really quick as well, see how they did today. Annie was down 0.4% to 35 cents. Argo was also down up today 4.19% to $1.74. BitDigital was flat at $1.54 today. Bitfarms was down 2.99% to 94 cents. Cipher was up 3% to $2.40. Cleanspark was down 2.88% to $2.70. Cores was down, up today 2.07% to 31 cents. DigiHost was down 8.43% to $1.52. They did also report their financial numbers, which we're going to get into another video. I don't want to make this video over an hour long with everything that we do have the updates for the miners, for the production updates. We'll get into those first, and then later on I'll do the update on DigiHost, and I believe it was Suona was the other one that provided their financial reports. So we'll get into that as well. DMG was up 0.13% to 23 cents. Greenidge was up 1.37% to 45 cents. Hive was up 2.13% to $3.36. Hut 8 was down 3.24% to $1.79. Iris Energy was down 2.61% to $2.98. Marathon was down 3.33% to $8.43, which was surprising because they really had a good production month for March. Mawson was down 2.58% to $3.02. Riot was down 3.2% to $9.67. And Soluna was up 3.67% to 28 cents. Stronghold was up 8.06% to 67 cents. Wolf was up 9.83% to $1. They've had a really nice rally here in the last couple weeks, you could say. They've gone up quite a bit here since they bottomed out at 53 cents. So they're up approximately 92% right now on that. So a nice rally by them. And that's it for the miners and Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. Markets, that's done. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick, and we'll get into the other news stories. So network hash rate right now, let's refresh. I just refreshed it a little bit ago, but it's still at right now 335 million terahashes per second. That's on the 7-day average. On the 1-day average, it's gone up a little bit here to 346 million terahashes. I'm wondering why we had a big spike here to 398. This was back on the 22nd of March. I wonder if that was maybe Marathon plugging in a lot of the miners that they did have, and then possibly we'll see if that's the case or not. But obviously, network hash rate is going up. Okay, so let's take a look at the news stories that we do have, which aren't that many. 2 news stories and then the updates for the miners. So Bitcoin drops to 27.5, while Dogecoin spikes after Twitter logo change. So Elon Musk tweeted earlier today that he's going to, well, I guess you could say he said promise kept or something like that. And he changed the logo of the Twitter logo, little bird, to the Doge one. You can see it on the web. I don't know if it's still up or not, but it was up to date. And that caused, obviously, Doge to spike. Bitcoin remained firmly within the range it has held for much of the past 2 weeks, trading as low as 27,200 and as high as 28,400 money today. So it did have pretty big swings in that today. Part of that reason might be because of the CZ unconfirmed news. And then yet BTC's price has been unable to ride above 29,000 for more than a few fleeting minutes in recent weeks as investors mull banking failures and fresh economic indicators that have been inconclusive. We've also seen it on Bitcoin where it has been struggling, like they say, to get above the 28,600 right now line, which is our resistance. And it's been battling with it constantly here. We've seen this happen in the past where when that happens, it's either going to go above it. Chances are that it will fall back a little bit more before it's retested again. But right now we're just battling with it and we can't get above it. So that's concerning. That's why I think we're going to go down a little bit more. Okay, let's see here. Bitcoin needs a bullish catalyst to break above 30,000 level, but until some significant use case or argument is made, prices could consolidate around the mid 20,000s. Edward Maya, senior market analyst at foreign exchange market maker Oanda, wrote in an email, I cannot tend to agree with him. Right now, it's just there isn't much steam ahead of Bitcoin right now to get it above the 28,600 mark, and we are kind of fledgling in that range right now where we might fall down even more. Okay. Meanwhile, market liquidity has continued to worsen. Crypto data from Kaiko's Monday report noted that both BTC and Ethereum's 2% market depth and metric for assessing liquidity conditions has dropped by 50% and 41% respectively since the collapse of Alameda Research and the trading arm of crypto exchange FTX in November, a so-called Alameda gap. The ongoing decline has followed exchange Binance's announcement that it was curbing its zero-free trading program, Kaiko said. So we're seeing some of that happening right now. So changing market depth since the FTX collapse. You can see here that it's down, well, Bitcoin's down 50%, Ethereum down 41% on that. So both assets, Bitcoin and Ethereum, have suffered in the aftermath of the FTX collapse and banking crisis with fewer market makers supplying liquidity to order books, the report said. So that's possibly why we're been going up lately, but we just don't have any more kind of steam to get us past this. Okay, and that's it for that one. Next is going to be CZ here. So Bitcoin BNB drops on unverified rumor Binance CEO faces Interpol red notice. Red notice, if you might be aware of what that is, but it is covered here. So Binance's BNB token quickly slumped by more than 3% late Monday afternoon on an unverified rumor that an Interpol red notice had been issued for the cryptocurrency exchange founder and CEO, CZ. Interpol red notice for CZ read an encrypted message from Twitter user Kobe, who was well followed by the crypto community. The message was tweeted in a sequence of letters and numbers encrypted using the SHA-256 hashing function, the same cryptography that secures many cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. And then spokespeople for Binance and Interpol did not immediately respond to requests for comment. And here's the tweet, actually. Somebody is actually replying to this, I think. And this was, I'm hearing things. Be right back, withdrawing a decent chunk just in case. So people were kind of panicking a little bit today with Bitcoin and pulling stuff out. And here's a tweet from Kobe. It was just that address. If you look at that address, here's that message that was inside there. Interpol red notice for CZ possibly. Okay, the rumor comes days after Binance and Zhao were sued by the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission over willful evasion of U.S. laws. We covered that when that did happen. A red notice is a request to law enforcement worldwide to locate and provisionally arrest a person pending extradition, surrender, or similar legal action. According to the Interpol website, the individuals are wanted by the requesting member country or international tribunal, the site added. So we got that going for us, and as a result, I think Bitcoin was down today a little bit because of it. Okay, but it's interesting to see if this is going to be verified anytime soon, or if it's just going to be a rumor that's been spread out, and we'll see if this goes anywhere on that one. Okay, so next, let's get into the miners here. First one at bat is Bitfarms, mines 424 BTC in March, which was really good for them. And here's what we got on them. So here's a quote from, I believe this is from, Geoff Murphy. We improved our financial position in March 2023, reflecting stable production and an increase in BTC price. Bitcoin has gone up nicely here, so that has definitely helped them out. During the month, we mined 424 Bitcoins, added 30 BTC to Treasury, and sold 394 Bitcoin at an average selling price of 24,700 per BTC, in line with improving mining economics and lower debt obligations. So that's all good. They're also strengthening the company's balance sheet and reducing debt further. We ended March with 29 million in cash and equivalents and 435 BTC in custody, 22 million in vendor credits, and just 21 million total indebtedness. So they are cash flow positive at that point, where they do have more cash than they have indebtedness, which is good. So they've done a pretty good job here since early 2022, getting their finances in order. They've been selling a lot of Bitcoin also, but at least they're getting out of the debt, which is good. And then Ben Gennon, Chief Mining Officer of Bitfarms, said, in March, we increased BTC production by 17% year over year, even with the energy curtailment in Quebec and Paraguay, as well as continued network growth. In Q1 2023, BTC price increased by 72%. Outpacing network difficulty growth of 32.5%, which is good, right? Which is what we've kind of seen. As a result, industry mining revenue is up 31% dollars per terahash in the quarter. Continued rising difficulty levels reflect increasing investment and bullish sentiment in the mining industry overall. So those are all good things there. And we can see here what they had mined. So 4.8 exahash online as of March 31st, which is up 78% from March of last year, and up 2% compared to February, which is good. 4.6 exahash average online compared to 4.3 in February, so a nice little increase there in average hash rate. 424 new BTC mined, up 9.6 from March of 2022 from last year, so that's good. And then 13.7 BTC mined daily on average, equivalent to about 390,000 per day, and approximately 12.1 million for the month, based on BTC price of 28,500. But obviously, you're going to use the average price for that whole month. And when that comes down a little bit lower, it's like around 24,000 something. Okay, let's see here. That is it, I think, for the updates. Let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and then we'll get into the next one. So Bitfarms. Here we go. So as always, you guys know the drill here, that Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets that I do have, all the data that I keep on the miners. That's available to them whenever I upload them, which is pretty much daily almost, depending on how much news we get from them. That's only $4 a month, so that's a little plug for myself. Okay, so Bitfarms has 222 million shares outstanding, almost 223 million shares. Stock price is at 94 cents. We're trying to get Bitfarms above that dollar range for at least 10 consecutive days, so they don't they become in compliance with NASDAQ listing. Their market cap is 290 million right now. Current hash rate 4.8 exahash, which is what I have them at, correct? Yep. And future hash rate is supposed to be about 7.5. They're saying that they're going to get to like 6.5, I think, with everything said and done right now. So there's some miners that I have in here that might be getting booted out of there, which are some of the older miners, I think. So currently they're about 63% operational. Hash rate growth about 56. Number of miners, well, it's an estimate, 48.4 thousand. Hash rate average per miner is about 99, so that's pretty good there. BTC HODL is 435. That's valued at about 12.3 million. HODL to market cap is about 5.88%, and each share has about 6 cents of HODL in it right now. Okay, so now looking at their BTC production here, we can see that their production did peak in August. 534 BTC. Hash rate was much lower at that time. Hash rate has continued to increase, and they haven't been able to really stay with the increase of hash rate. They've done a pretty good job here, but not growing as fast as they probably should be growing. They went from basically in August, they were at 3.9 exahash, and by the end of the year, they were only at 4.5. So about 600 petahash were added into it, which didn't help them out. They also did some curtailing as well, which also kind of drove down their BTC production as of late. So 534 was their best, and then their worst was really in February, just of last prior month, 387. It was a shorter month also, 28 days compared to 31 days. So that's kind of expected, but now they're back up to 424. And with the network hash rate increasing, we're going to start seeing that for miners that aren't growing as fast as the network hash rate is actually. Right? And you can also see it here with the BTC per exahash. They peaked in August, 136 BTC per exahash, which was really good. And then ever since then, they've been coming down. And you're going to see that kind of trend line as well for some of the other miners, especially with the Bitcoin network hash rate increasing. You're going to see that come down further and further as we get into 2023. So for March, here they mined 424 Bitcoin. That equates to about 10.6 million in revenue. That's based on the average Bitcoin price for the month. So I'm pulling in all that data and we're using the average monthly Bitcoin price of that, but it is a nice increase nonetheless of about 9.56% from the month prior. They did sell approximately 384 Bitcoins. It looks like for about 9.8 million. So they are funding operations that way without having to dilute, which is great. As far as the miners that we got added in here for March, it looks like they only added about 980 or so, about 100 petahash of these 103 terahash miners. And they were mining for about 12.6 days. I'm guessing somewhere around there based on what they actually generated in revenue based on the Bitcoin price, monthly Bitcoin mine. We got them to 10.6 right here. Next, let's take a look at the institution side of things. Institutions did improve here a little bit for them. So 113 institutions compared to 110 for the month prior. Shares is 37.2, so about 270,000 shares were increased, and about percentage owned went up a little bit here as well to 17.08 from 16.96. So those are all good things. We like seeing institutions getting into these miners and buying them up. They usually hold them for a nice long time. They don't usually trade them, so that's good there. As far as analyst targets for them is, we only have one buy rating for them. Price target is $1.48, which is down quite a bit from 368, almost half of that where they were. I don't know where they're getting that number 148. I have them at much higher. We'll take a look at that here shortly. The average is 148 also, and the low is 148. And then we have a chart here that I'm starting to include some of these miners here just to see percentage owned over time. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? That's kind of just a quick way to take a look at what's going on there for that miner. Okay. So that's the information that we have there. This is all good. And let's take a look at the actual numbers here. So the Q4 numbers for them are in. Those are right on the money there. So we're using the last 3 quarters, which are final numbers, which are provided by them. These are the accurate numbers instead of my estimates. My estimates are over here based on those numbers. And then we're using the current quarter, which I'm estimating to be about 29 million in revenue based on what they reported as getting mined each month, using the average Bitcoin price for each month as well. This is kind of what we're looking at. I was really close on it in Q4. I was off by 0.01% on that. So this is kind of what we're looking to see for Bitfarms is about 29 million, which is good. That's about a 4 million increase, 4.4 million increase in revenue for them, which is great. It's going to be a while before we get back up to, I think, the 40 million mark. Bitcoin would have to go up to possibly now closer to 40, 50,000 per Bitcoin in order for them to be generating that again. But we are possibly going to be getting there this year. Okay, based on all that information, if we use the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking with a PE of 15. I have them at about $4.39. And then if we use 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $6.59. So they're at 94 cents right now. In my opinion, they are way undervalued, as a lot of these miners are. We could even get them up to maybe a 20 PE when Bitcoin starts going up higher. So I would see them up even higher right now. I mean, based on the analysts, they're saying $1.48. They are looking at basically a PE of 5 right now, which I don't think is fair. I think once the miners do start growing up with Bitcoin and bull runs, we get much higher PE ratios, and I would guess to be about somewhere maybe 20 even, and maybe even higher some of the times. So 585 to $8.78, that's kind of where I'm looking at between there and the 15 PE, $4.39 to $6.59. So that would be almost a 5x from where we are right now. But Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs. We could see that PE ratio and their earnings obviously increase a heck of a lot more. We could see that be, 10x from here. They could be at $8.39 to $6.59, somewhere around there. Okay, so that's it for Bitfarms. Otherwise, they have been doing pretty well. They're pretty efficient as it is. With their mining, they're mining pretty much for the whole time, doing some curtailment there, not much. And they are also getting into Argentina, their Paraguay as well. We'll see how that's going to all work out. They're saying that they're supposed to get that all under control within the next 30 days or so, 30, 60 days in Argentina. So we'll keep an eye on it. But overall, great progress by them so far. Getting the debt under control and everything else, so we're good there. Okay, that's Bitfarms. Let me know what you guys think of Bitfarms down in the comments below. Let's get into the next one here, and we'll keep chugging along. So Cleanspark. Cleanspark releases March 2023 Bitcoin mining update. Let's take a look at it. So expansion of Cleanspark's Washington, Georgia Bitcoin mining campus is on schedule. So it looks like they have possibly almost one building done here on that one. And they got 3 more buildings that they're building out right now. So a pretty big project there for them, which is great to see. So here's a quote from Zach Bradford, CEO. The 50 megawatt expansion is on schedule. The machines have already been purchased and shipping as expected to commence this month. Once those machines are racked and then the expansion is energized, our hash rate is expected to increase to about 8.7 exahash, giving us substantial progress towards our calendar year-end goal of 16 exahash. In this environment, a miner that is not growing is falling behind. As hash rate grows, we also need to grow. I agree with that 100%. They're right on the money there. You're seeing with some of the other miners that aren't growing as fast, you're seeing their production going down each and every single month. This is something we need to see, especially before the halving event, I think, is miners that are growing. So growth takes substantial capital, just as it does in any commodities-based business, especially in the scaling stage. As we scale, we intend to continue to use all capital levers available to us, including equity and Bitcoin, carefully balancing both to provide the highest rate of return for our shareholders, which is good. We are also making the most of the bear market so that we are in position to take full advantage of the next bull market once it inevitably emerges, which it will. I think sometime later on this year into next year, especially when we get past the halving event, we'll get into another bull run. So here's a production update. Bitcoin mined in March, 598. Nice number there. So far, year to date, they mined 1,871 Bitcoin. Total Bitcoin holdings as of March did increase here to 196. And then total BTC converted for operations and growth in March was 502. So they have sold quite a bit there. Currently deployed fleet of about 67,700 latest generation Bitcoin miners with hash rate of 6.7 exahash. So they increased that hash rate just a little bit here from month over month, which is good. And then operational update, Washington expansion. The Washington expansion is a passively cooled data center consisting of 4 primary buildings, 1 fully completed, so that's good there. The expansion will hold about 15,000 Antminer S19j Pro machines. Total capacity in Washington is expected to be about 86 megawatts, the majority of which is sourced from low carbon on-grid energy. And then building 1 is complete, so that's good and ready for miners. Racks are currently being installed in building 2, so we're pretty close to having that one complete. The foundation was recently poured for building 3, while concrete deliveries are imminent for building 4. So those are all good things there for them, for that growth. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and we'll get into the next one. So Cleanspark has currently 77.9, almost 78 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $2.70. Market cap is at 210 million, way undervalued in my opinion. Current hash rate 6.7 exahash. They are supposed to get to 9.4, 9.5 exahash with all the miners that they have in the queue that were purchased and reported on. So they are about 70% operational right now. Hash rate growth is about 41%. Average hash rate per miner is about 98. Bitcoin HODL is 196. That's about 5.4 million in value right now. HODL market cap is 2.63%, and each share has about 7 cents of HODL in it right now. Looking at the production here, we can see that their best month was actually in January, 697 Bitcoin. Network hash rate at that time was much lower. It was lower by about 30, 40% lower. So that's expected there to be higher. February was 576. That month only had 28 days in it. March was 598. Bitcoin network has increased, but their efficiency has been pretty good here. You can see it's been coming down here. Their best month was definitely January for them. And then we've got 87 in February, and March was 89 BTC per exahash, which is okay. Now, March production was 598 Bitcoin. That is an increase of about 3.82% from February, and 22 more Bitcoins from that. Let's see here. They generated about 15 million in revenue based on that, based on the network hash rate and where average Bitcoin price is. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And you can see here, let's see here, they sold 502 for about 12.6 million. So they're using that to fund growth and expansion. and overhead costs as well. February, I had them mining for about 27.5, well, March, let's click on March. March, I had them mining for about 31 days in the month, except for the miners that were added in, were mining for about 27 days in the month, it looks like, based on my calculations, and in order for me to get them to 15 million right now. So that's kind of what we're looking at for them. So very good month for them as far as operations. They were operating a little bit less here in February, but not much. But March seems like they were operating pretty much full bore on it. Okay. Institution-wise, institutions did increase a little bit here to 164 from 162. Shares increased by about 10,000 shares to 25.4 million shares. But we have been seeing a pretty steady incline in institutions buying in, and that's always good to see. Percentage owned is up to 32.67. That's pretty much stayed the same here. Not much of a change on that. We still have analyst ratings of a strong buy for one of them, 3 buys for everybody else, and price targets are $12, $7.50, and $5 for the low. So that's kind of, we'll see where I have them at right now. But seeing this is all good. And you can see on the chart that we peaked right around December as far as percentage owned. We peaked at 36.68. We came down a little bit here in January. A lot of people were selling probably before the end of the year, and then they started buying back in after the new year on them. Okay, now as far as where I have them at, so based on the last 3 quarters of revenue, we have them at 84.8 million plus the 42 possibly they're going to make this quarter, which is going to be a really good number for them. It's going to be possibly one of their best quarters here in the last year, it looks like. They were at 37 million in Q1. June was 28, 25 in September. December was 27. Now they're possibly going to be at 42 if these numbers hold true, which I would expect them to be. We were pretty close here in fourth quarter as well. I was only off by 0.02% on them, so we were really close to that. We'll see if we get really close to that. So if they do get that, this could be a record quarter for them possibly with their mining here. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Combined total of 127 million in revenue. And you can see here that 127 million in revenue, but their market cap is 210. Makes absolutely no sense to me. With 50% net income from gross revenue, PE of 20, I'm looking at $16.33. With 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $24.49 potentially. They're going to be growing. If they can get to 16 exahash this year, that's going to possibly make them the 2nd or 3rd largest Bitcoin miner after Marathon. Marathon's going to get to 23. I think Core is pretty close to that number as well, 16 or 17 exahash. And then we got Riot, which is going to be at 12 point something, but with their immersion cooling, they can do some increases in hash rate. They can dial those in a little bit more, so they might be getting closer to 14 potentially with all that said and done. So I think there's still a lot of growth for Cleanspark, and we'll see where they end up at. But right now, they're just, I think, way undervalued in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, as always, in the comments. Love to hear from you guys there. So that's it, my take on Cleanspark. Cleanspark, like I said, has been growing really well. They started at, what was it, 2 exahash at the beginning of 2022. They ended the year with 6.2 exahash. So they grew pretty much 3x in a year, which was really good for them. And then they're growing again about another 2.5x or so this year potentially. So they just got to keep executing on what they're doing. So great job by them. Okay, let's take a look at the next one here, which is Cipher. Cipher Mining announces March 2023 operational update. And here's what we got for them. So key highlights: BTC mined was 413, BTC sold was 450, BTC held was 427, deployed mining rigs was 53,500, and monthly end operation hash rate was 5.7. But that is also, part of it is also with a joint venture. So they're only getting that, they're getting, that's being listed under assets, not under revenue, I believe. Management commentary. So during the month of March, Cipher expanded operations at its Odessa facility while funding both operating expenses and capital expenditures through ongoing operations. Cipher finished March with the potential to mine nearly 16 Bitcoin per day. And then, let's see here, we continue to make great progress on building out our Odessa facility and now have over 4.7 exahash of self-mining operations there. So that's kind of what I'm calculating on that, bringing our total self-mining capacity to 5.7 exahash. With our best-in-class unit economics, we are able to fund ongoing capex from Odessa from operations in March without resorting to dilutive equity issuance or costly debt financing. So that's good there. In addition to mining Bitcoin throughout the month, we managed our power usage to maximize our dollar-based output. There were times when we curtailed our mining so that we could sell power into the market, which is fine. And then this is kind of a strange statement here. And there were also periods in the month where our Odessa power providers spent hours from their annual curtailment budget, potentially presenting us with greater power selling opportunities later in 2023. So it seems like they kind of sold some stuff off for them where they didn't have to curtail, but they'll have to possibly do it later on, I guess. Kind of strange, but kind of cool also. With shipments of miners arriving at Odessa in April, we expect to achieve our initial goal of 6 exahash, and we look forward to the completing of Odessa infrastructure build-out in the second quarter. So we are in that now, so within the next 3 months, that should be done as well. So that's good there, and that's all we got for them here. So let's take a look at the numbers I do have for them. Cipher here has 248 million shares outstanding. Current stock price is $2.4 or $2.40. Market cap 596 million right now. Compare that to Cleanspark, which has a higher hash rate right now and less shares. Their market cap is much lower. It's about a third of what Cipher's is, which is, like I said, it's strange. Okay, current hash rate 4.7, future hash rate about 6. They're about 79% operational right now, 26% growth left in them. Hash rate average per miner is about 89 terahashes. BTC HODL is 427. That's valued about 12 million right now. HODL to market cap is 2.03%, and each share is about 5 cents of HODL in it. Now, they've had fantastic growth here throughout basically the start of the summer here of last year, where they were kind of mining 24, 33, 38, 60, and then really nice ramp up here in the last, you could say, 5 months or so. 96 in November, 225 BTC in December, January was 343, February was 398, and March was 413. But you've also seen the same thing happen here with these guys where efficiency has been coming down because Bitcoin network hash rate has been increasing, so BTC per exahash has been coming down, and it's in line with some of the other miners that we have seen here with Bitfarms and Cleanspark. They're right around that 80-some range here, which is good. And then let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them. So 413 BTC mined, that equates to about 10.3 million in revenue, it looks like, for them, based on the network hash rate and Bitcoin average price for the month. And that's going to be a pretty sizable increase here for them. And I'm using the actual numbers for them that they are going to report on their quarterly results, which is going to be as revenue. We do have some of the miners that are in that joint venture, which they are only getting 49% of that, which I think is going to be under their assets tab. Okay, so that's kind of why this is 9.3 instead of the 10.3. And the reason for that is, as you can see here, is this purple, light pink, whatever you want to call it, line here. These are the miners that are part of the JV, the joint venture with another party. They're only getting 49% of that, so I'm kind of counting that a little bit differently here on that one. Okay, and then I'm still not sure if the 413 is reported as, I think it's reported as the total mine between the two, but then I gotta wait for the numbers to come out to verify this, so bear with me on that one. They did sell 451 Bitcoin, so that was about 11.3 million in, that they sold this month of March. And here's what we got for them. They were mining pretty much for 28 days, it looks like, for a majority of their self-miners. 19 days on the new miners that got added, so that added them about 220 petahash to it, which got us to approximately 4.7, a little higher than they reported. 4.765 is what I have them at. Odessa was about 9.3 million in revenue. Alvarez, Bear, and Chief, which is their joint venture, I'm estimating, 1,056,000 for that. So we'll see where that comes in at, and I think I'm just adding those two numbers up potentially to where they could be on it. So I need some confirmation on this, that these numbers are going to work. Hopefully when we get the latest quarterly results, I'll be able to figure this stuff out, especially since they're providing all this information now for us, which is great. Okay. Next, let's take a look at the institutions. Institutions did increase here a little bit to 110 institutions and 12.8 million shares, which is about the same here. And then percentage owned is still down a little bit here to 5.15% from 5.17. Analyst ratings, we still have one buy rating. Price targets is $3 for the high, $2.90 for the average, $2.70 for the low. And we just really don't have enough data on them right now for the institutions chart to take a look at it. So we'll keep an eye on that one, see how that one plays out. But they're pretty close to where the analysts are looking for them to be at right now. And that's kind of where I have I have them actually a little bit lower here, but analysts have them right around that range right now. where I have them at is the current quarter, which is possibly going to be about 23.5 million in revenue. Last 3 quarters weren't that great. We actually only have 2 quarters numbers that I have for them. If I had another quarter in there, that might change the numbers obviously for us. But as the more numbers we do get from them, and we'll be able to gauge them a little bit better. But right now, with 50% net income from gross revenue, I'm looking at $1.15 to $1.73. So that's definitely on the high end here for being $2.40. Right now, they are going to have pretty good growth here. So even if you multiply that, let's just say that they are constant with these 23.5 million for the next 4 quarters, we could possibly do some numbers. Let's see if we can do that right now really quick. See, current quarter is 23. Let's just add another 50 million into it. See here, we'll put another, that one is in there as well. Okay, so let's see here. Let's just add another 45 million in here just for giggles. Okay, so now that gets us to 73 million in revenue for the last 4 quarters roughly. If they do that, or future quarters possibly, that would get me to $2.96 to $4.44. So more in line with where they are right now. I guess you could take a look at it. So if investors are more forward looking, they're looking at a higher PE. I'm looking at the past performance where they are right now, what they've generated. Now, if we start looking into higher performances, we obviously know that Bitcoin can go up higher. The revenues can go up higher as well. They could fetch definitely more towards the $4.44. But you know, they do have a lot of shares outstanding, so I wouldn't expect them to get much higher than that. Possibly going to maybe $12 if Bitcoin really starts going up higher. Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking at them. They have done a fantastic job here growing. They just need to continue to do that and hopefully not dilute a lot, but continue to grow and keep their expenses under control as well. That goes for all the miners as well. All right, let me know what you guys think of Cipher. Let's get into our last one here, and my voice is starting to get tired here. So Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for March 2023. They increased Bitcoin production 21% month over month, producing a record 825 BTC in March 2023 and a record 2,195 Bitcoins in Q1 of 2023. They have done a fantastic job this quarter. They are definitely making up for what they did in 2022. They just had a really, really bad year in 2022. They are making up for it this year, which is good to see. And they have started selling Bitcoin as well, so they're not diluting as much, which is great to see as well. Okay, increased hash rate 64% in Q1 2023 to 11.5 exahash as of March 31st, 2023. So that's good there. And then reported unrestricted cash and cash equivalents of 124.9 million and increased unrestricted Bitcoin holdings to 11,466 Bitcoin as of March 31st, 2023. Okay, management commentary. During the quarter, we increased our operational hash rate 64% from 7 exahash to 11.5 exahash. We also observed improvements in the consistency of our hash rate, which indicates that some of the technologies or technological upgrades we have been implementing are starting to take effect. By improving our hash rate, we increased our Bitcoin production 41% from the prior quarter to a record 2,195 Bitcoins in Q1. In March, we produced a record 825 Bitcoin, which is a 21% increase from the prior month as well. So fantastic job by them getting those miners installed and energized, because they've been having some problems with getting things energized. So it's good to see that that's happening right now. Trying to see if there's anything else. There isn't anything else. You guys can take a look at all these numbers here, but I think those are the main points I wanted to go over. Okay, so let's take a look at Marathon here. Marathon is going to be way over here. There it is. Okay. Marathon currently has about 167 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $8.43. Market cap 1.4 billion right now. Huge one. I think they're just slightly below Riot right now as far as market cap is concerned. Current hash rate 11.5 exahash. Future hash rate 23.1. That's where I have them at. So they are 49% operational right now. They still have a lot of growth left in them, about 101%. Average hash rate per miner is 109. They're possibly one of the best ones that we are covering right here. Bitcoin HODL is 11,466. That's valued at about 324 million. Excuse me. And then the HODL market cap, 23% of their market cap is their HODL position. And then each share has about $1.94 cents in HODL right now. BTC production, you can see here that they had a really rough 2022. They bottomed at 72 Bitcoins in July. Ever since then, they've been obviously doing a much better job getting miners installed, getting them energized, moving things around, and getting them deployed and everything else. So that has basically transpired into more BTC being mined. So they reached 650 in October. They were down a little bit in November, December. But then they were right back up in January and February of 687, 683, and now 825. So that's good to see there. Their efficiency has also come way down here. The 200 is an anomaly here. That's because they mined for a portion of the month in June, I believe it was, before they had a problem with their facility in Montana, I believe it was, or the storm hit it and they were shut down. That's why you have this weird efficiency there on that one. Other than that, they have been kind of bouncing all over the place as far as efficiency because they have been doing also quite a bit of curtailment. And you can see that they are a little bit lower than Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Cipher as far as efficiency is concerned per exahash. 71.74 here for the month of March, 77 or 71.81 for February as well. So they are below where the kind of average where I think they should be kind of at. Okay, with 825 Bitcoins being mined for the month, it looks like they made about 20.7 million here. So that's good there. The other thing is it looks like they're going to be possibly back up to about 50 million in revenue for the quarter, which is going to be great. The last time they were around that was pretty much last quarter. They weren't able to beat it. They were at 52.9. Bitcoin was also higher at that point where it is right now. But they weren't able to beat it, unfortunately, here, but they are really close to that, which I would expect them to beat it possibly in the Q2. Their numbers from the last year as well on that one. And they did sell about, looks like, 751 Bitcoins for about 18.8 million. So that's good. You can see here that they've been selling consistently here for the last 3 months. For the most part, they sold 2.9 or 2,961 Bitcoins in the last 3 months, which is good. They're not diluting as much. Okay. As far as the miners that got installed here in March, we had, let's see here, I added in basically, was it 14,210 miners roughly to get us about almost 2 exahash here in additional miners. Those were mining for about 18 days. The rest of the miners were operating for about 26 days in order for me to get them to the 20.7 million in revenue, which is right there. So we're pretty close to that one as it is. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And let's see here. Institutions. Institutions did increase here as well to 321 from 314, which is good. Shares, however, went down a little bit here, which is kind of strange, to 52.6 million from 52.8. And percentage owned went down to 31.5 from 45.19. So I'm thinking there's got to be definitely some dilution being accounted into this as well. Some new numbers being released for how many shares there are outstanding. And that's having an effect on percentage owned right now. So I think that's the reason for it. Other than that, analysts, we still have 1 strong buy rating, 4 buy ratings, 3 hold ratings. Price target is $20 for the high, $11.40 for the average, $4 for the low. Okay. I don't know what the low, who came up with the low of $4 on that one. Don't know what they're smoking. Okay, my numbers. Current quarter, we're looking at about 50.5 million. Last 3 quarters was 66.0 million, looks like. Yep, and that's reported numbers from them. Let's see here. Based on that, we're looking at a combined 160 million, 50% net income from gross revenue because, well, I think that's kind of where we should be at. $6.97 for that. 75% net income from gross revenue would be at $10.46. They are right in between that. I think they are pretty fairly valued right now as it is. Now, if they continue to grow what they are, I would expect them to be priced even better than this, especially if Bitcoin starts going up higher in price as well. Okay. Now, what can I say as far as the production for their March update? Great job by them. They've definitely, like I said, had a really, really tough year in 2022. So it's kind of nice to see them actually performing nicely for a change. And they have been doing it pretty much for the last 5 months or so. They've been doing a pretty good job here. So we want to see this continue on. And it would be great to see them get to 23 exahash by the end of Q2 here. That would be another 100% increase from where they are right now. Okay. So that's it. I'll just say continue on the great job there, and we'll see how things play out. Okay, we'll see where Bitcoin ends up and everything else. Now, there's still a couple of stories that I have to get into. I'm not going to do them in this video, but there are, like I said, Soluna and DigiHost provided their financial results for 2022. I have to get into those. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through those today. I have them out for you tomorrow because I'm starting to feel my throat's starting to give out. Too much talking. Also, I'm going to try, like I said, to get these videos made into clips so that way you guys can see those individually if you want, and I'll also provide the chapters in there as well. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for my Patreon members for all their continued support, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, what kind of updates we get then. All right, so thank you so much again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.